Okay. Testing 1, 2. Hey guys, how you doing? Good to see you guys tonight. I decided to do a live show tonight just to discuss a few items that went on over the last few days since before we were together on the last live episode a few days ago. Agree. Lots of stuff is happening. Politically, with the pandemic and COVID-19, stock market crashing and then rising and then crashing. It's just overwhelming for a lot of people. School closings, colleges closings, businesses closing. Hello, guys. Hi, Fairy Lover. Daniel. Daniel, I am in Virginia with my wife and 2 dogs. And we are here because I normally reside in the Charlotte, North Carolina, South Carolina area there, just south of Charlotte. But my wife has a inoperable brain tumor that is going to require up to 6 weeks of radiation treatment. And so we're here at a hotel in Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C., and we are, she's already had 2 radiation treatments this past week, and then we get the weekends off, and then Monday we start again, and we have, I think all the way through, gosh, I don't have the chart with me, but it's all the way through like April 21st or 22nd. So we will be here in this hotel room with a kitchen. It's a very nice place. They've been really nice here. People, the people that work here, it's been a good experience. But with all this going on, of course, it's definitely takes a toll when you feel that you should be home in a more safer environment. Maybe I'd be closer to all the preparations I've put in place over the years, and now it finds me here for the next 6 weeks, basically on our own here. So it's pretty interesting. It's our faith is strong. This has to be done no matter what. So we're just hoping and praying that we get through it and we get back to our lives again. Spain is under lockdown. No one can leave their homes. Wow. So Spain, Italy. Oh, Italy. Okay. Yeah, I knew about Italy. Yeah. I saw some more clips of that today. Thanks, Typo. Hey, Frank, how you doing? Good to see you. Senator Mass, good to see you. Thanks for your prayers. I really, really appreciate it. Keep us, my wife Barbie, in your prayers. She's had 2 treatments so far. So I wanted to actually start off the tonight's live session with that, just a quick update. I talked about it a little bit already. She had 2 sessions so far. She's receiving her treatment at Johns Hopkins Hospital, and this is at the Sibley Memorial Hospital campus, and that's in Washington, D.C. It's right on the border there. The main hospital is in Baltimore, but the Sibley Center or the Sibley Hospital has a beautiful new wing just for radiation treatments, and it's pretty. They've got their act together, that's for sure. Seen other people there in some very bad situations. It really hits home when you see, how many people are sick and undergoing different types of treatment, especially radiation treatment to different parts of their bodies. And so it's very, very upsetting to see that. Very hard to see that. Afternoon, late afternoon appointments, and then after that, I think most of our appointments are in at 12:30. So it gives us time to get here from the hotel. It's just about a half hour if you don't hit traffic to get there from the hotel. But if you leave, in DC traffic, if you leave at a certain time, you're pretty much toast. I don't care so much about coming home, but going there and getting to the appointment on time is critical. So the last 2 days, we kind of timed it. We went two different routes. We took 395 one day. I took 495 home the first day, and then 495 there and back the second day, and it seemed to work pretty good. It kind of loops you around a little bit, but it seemed to just be a lot easier to do that. So again, we're still experimenting with the route. One thing that happened Friday, on the 13th, Friday, March 13th, when we went to our appointment, they had a kind of when you walked into you parked in the parking garage, and then you walked into the hospital area that led down the corridor where the treatment center was, where we had to go for the radiation treatment. And they had tables set up, 4 or 5 people there, and they had sign-in sheets, and they were asking us questions if we were experiencing coughing and different symptoms, if we had a fever. And they were kind of like, you could tell they were looking at you to see if you were sick. So the hospital there is definitely stepping up things to screen people that are walking in for treatment and people walking in with them. Like I was walking in with my wife. So, and then we had to sign in and get a sticker and then go in. We had never encountered that before there until Friday. So moving forward, that's probably going to be how it's going to be. So just trying to look at some of the comments here. New Jersey ordered people to only go out if it's for food and medicine. Okay, I didn't see that, but I'm sure that's possible. Yeah, definitely. Your live feed is frozen. I was watching a few live feeds today, and they were freezing up. So if it's the amount of people online today or just what's going on. I've got a couple of windows open here on my computer. I'll try to shut down some. Hopefully, is it coming in clear now, guys? Anybody else experiencing that? Yeah, we're on. You want to talk? Nothing? Nothing to say. So my wife's over on the couch there with, what are those, Bose headphones? She got her Bose headphones on and she's listening to, what are you listening to?
Christian music.
Christian music. With her little iPad in her lap, and so she's doing all right. Okay, so yeah, the hospital definitely has stepped up its game there, screening people coming in. A couple people on some of my other social media have been kind of interested in me and my living in a hotel during this crisis, and so I kind of want to give a quick update on how that's going, because that's been kind of a little bit out of my element, not being in a hotel, but being in a hotel, knowing that I have to be here for X amount of weeks, knowing all that's going on in the country and around the world, kind of gives you a little knot in your stomach. You're not on your home turf. So the status of the stay so far has been good. I mean, we're happy with the service here. I bring the dogs out, and then my wife will have the cleaning people come up. There's really not much to clean. They do a quick, give us new towels and clean up quickly, and then they're out. I bring the dogs back, and so that's been going good. I've been out four times now since Friday. Right across the parking lot here, there's a huge plaza, and in the plaza there's several stores. There's a CVS, the giant food store. There's a Starbucks. There's a GNC. There's a Trader Joe's, which I walked in, I believe it was on Thursday, and I walked right out again. It was packed Thursday afternoon. And then I walked back into. So I've been in the Giant 4 or 5 times right now. That's where I've been. That's where I've been getting the food that I have here in the hotel that I want to keep in stock. So I think I've spent 400. My wife's tracking it. Over $400 since we've been here on Tuesday until now. On Fairy Lover says hi. Okay, she says hello. I spent about $400 on food and water and things, and so in my 4 trips to the store, I've seen a little bit of panic on Friday after I got back from the appointment. Friday afternoon, I went there and spent about $200. I don't want to get caught needing something and not being able to get it. So I'm going out and doing like reconnaissance missions each day. Even if I don't have to, I go there. Like today, I went out. I had to get just a few things. I wanted to see if there was bleach there, which there was, because Friday there was not. I wanted to see if they had. I ran out of doggy bags for my dog. So I was using the using the bags they give you when you go shopping. But then I was able to buy a couple of rolls of bags. And so I noticed today one whole aisle that housed the toilet paper and paper goods was completely empty. I took a picture of that and I put it on my Instagram page, Pray Prep Pump Iron. If you guys have Instagram, you can go on that page and see some of the preps that I put together while in the hotel. I posted some video and some pictures on my Instagram page. You could see that. There was water delivered to the store, to this particular store in Virginia, but it was going pretty rapidly. So I grabbed a case of water, another case of water, and one of those 2.5-gallon jugs. So I have that one and another one I left in the car with another case of water. And what I'm doing now with the water bottles, so as we drink the water bottles, so if I drink this water bottle, I don't throw the bottle out. I rinse it in the sink here. I fill it with water and I put it in the freezer. Put them in the freezer and I freeze them. Right now I got a whole bunch of water bottles in the freezer because if the power goes down and we're still stuck here for a while, the freezed bottles will give me a homemade refrigerator right inside my hotel room here. So anything I did have to keep refrigerated, I could use in there. When the water bottles defrost, I could drink them or cook with them. So I'm not throwing out any kind of container that can hold water. Water is key. So you need water for everything. So that's just something to think about if you're ever caught off guard, or even when you're getting ready. Even when we used to get ready for hurricanes in Florida, I would freeze a bunch of water because 9 times out of 10 the power is going to go out for any length of time, and so you don't know you're going to need the ice, and it can and you put the bottles in your refrigerator, and then it keeps your refrigerator going longer. As long as you keep the door shut, you've got your stuff will last longer. So I went out and I bought a whole bunch of stuff, dry goods, canned goods, um, bread, cereals, oatmeals. Um, it says I'm buffering. It was happening today on another live stream that I watched. Hey, brother, how you doing, Anthony? Things on your channel, but I do know about your wife. Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate it. I'm pretty close, I think, to your neck of the woods. I'm in the Washington, D.C. area for the next 6 weeks. So just let you know about that. Nadia Marcial, you do the same with your water bottles. Very smart. It's a very smart thing to do. So you're able to get some hand wipes, Fairy Lover. I see that. That's good. Again, I did see some aisles that were better than others in the store, but for the most part, they had. I didn't look at the meat department or stuff like that, but just walking up and down the aisles with like canned soups and tuna, they were definitely dwindling. But there was some stuff on the shelves. It wasn't really that bad, but the store was definitely busy. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Definitely, I'll send you something offline and get you my number. Energy bars, oatmeal, water. So trying to get as much as I can here. Again, I told you guys I have family close by if in the event of something. Also filled up our gas tank Friday upon arriving back at the hotel. I topped off my gas tank to the car. So if we did have to leave here for an emergency or something, I've got a full tank of gas. And with a full tank of gas in my vehicle, I could probably make it a good distance into North Carolina from here, as long as we didn't hit a lot of traffic. So that's a good thing. Let's see. All of the staples are gone. Oh, staples, like staple foods. I thought you meant staple stores. From point A to point Z says that all the staples are gone. Yeah, I could see. I'm sure it's depending on where you are. It's worse in some areas. Hi, Anthony, Canada. This is Super Farida. Hi, Anthony, Canada is the same. Bad media broadcasting fear and panic. All paper goods are long gone. People fight and like broke or hit each other with wine bottles, and then were cutting each other with the glass from the bottles. I don't know what they were fighting over, but I'm sure it was food or paper goods or something like that. Like I told you on the last live video, you do not want to be out in a panic buying mode if you don't have to. It's very dangerous. Your life can depend on it. Center Mass says he's never seen Costco or BJ's crowded as they have in the last few days. I've seen photos of people lining up lines out the door and around the corner. More crowded than to include Hurricane Sandy and numerous blizzards. That's pretty big. Hurricane Sandy was a huge event. Yeah, ACP, thanks for the comment on that. Yeah, I'm going to look into doing that tomorrow. I have family close by within 15 minutes, and I'm going to go set up some they have some gas cans for me. I'm going to top those off and have them ready to go. I think with 10 extra gallons, I can get home. 10 extra gallons of gas I should be able to get from here to my home base if I have to. I have a lot of gas at home stored, but again, for you guys that watch my YouTube channel, you know I have a bug out van, the stealth van, the Chevy van. I could live in it. It's fully stocked all the time. I did not bring that van here because the way it's set up with the roof rack and the solar, and when we go back and forth to Johns Hopkins Hospital, we've got to park in a certain area in the garage, and my van does not fit in there. And I wasn't sure if there was surface parking there. I didn't want to chance it, so we decided to take our smaller SUV. So I was only able to get so much gear in there that I could take. Although I did take a lot, but not everything I would have wanted to, especially extra gas. So didn't wasn't able to take extra gas. I was going to go to Walmart today and buy some water jugs and possibly some gas cans and do that, but I didn't get out there. I read some stories of the Walmarts being really crowded. I didn't want to take any chances. Yeah, rice was gone yesterday. Most of the bagged rice was gone in the Giant here where I am. Today it looked like they stocked a little bit, but most of the larger bags were gone. Well, thank you. I will be careful. I have been being careful. In fact, yes, Marla, 4, this is why we prep. And I took a picture today of an empty aisle and posted on my Instagram page that this is why we prep, guys. This is why you gather goods before something happens, in the event of something happening. What's going on around me? I got some notes here I'm just going off of. So what's going on around me? So people are out and about in the area where we are right now. It's getting bad in PA with toilet paper. A lot of people panicked. I'm sure it's going to get even worse. I mean, we're just at the beginning of this pandemic and national emergency. I mean, we're going to talk about it a little more in some notes here, but there's no telling what's going to happen and what road we're going to go down here. Things can get really bad quickly. In Oklahoma, I have a good bit of a few for about 3 weeks. That's good. 3 people probably have that. Although I do know many people that have a year. I do not have a year, but I'm working towards that. Yeah, you're going to move, you eat your preps, yeah. 2 more confirmed cases here in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. I know North Carolina shut. I saw the governor on today on the news. I've got Fox News on silent here. I just glance up every now and then. I'm watching Joe Biden talk to that factory worker or that union worker about his AR-14. What a crock of crap he is. Don't get me started on that one. Yeah, from point A to point Z, you've got to try to stock back up as fast as you can with this stuff that's going on. HCP, I think I do agree with you, and in fact, I want to discuss that about bad people. I did one video so far from Selco about the different types of people that he encountered when he was a year in hell during the Bosnian conflicts in the 90s. He went for a year when all hell broke loose, SHTF, and people that were once in normal times one way, when things broke bad, they were much different. And he talks about that, just that fine line between somebody going from, looking normal and acting normal to being a sociopath. Very possible, and I do see that happening down the road. So another thing I've been doing is the hotel here is not getting that many new bookings. So I'm not saying we're alone in here. There's definitely people here in the hotel. There's not many people on my floor because my wife's been talking with the same cleaning lady that's been doing our room, and she's telling us that the housekeeping staff is being cut. Their hours and days are being cut because of the shortage of room bookings. So last night, early in the morning, I think it was around 1, between 12 and 2 a.m., I heard some ruckuses outside the hallway. And there's one thing about, people coming home and, being a little noisy. And there was more about, you hear some different sounds in people's voices. You could tell people that are up to no good. So I thought I heard a couple of times last night. I was just getting up and getting ready to get dressed. And then I decided, it subsided and I decided not to go out. But I did hear some rumblings outside last night. It could have just been people partying. So what I've been doing is when I leave the hotel, even when I leave 4 to 5 times a day just to walk the dogs. So when I leave, I'm noticing, I notice everything. I walk down the hallways different ways. Sometimes I go down the stairwell. Sometimes I take the elevator, go through the lobby, go outside. I'm looking at people, looking at their faces, looking at who's coming in, who's going out, people behind the front desk, people outside the hotel, in the perimeter of the hotel, and then outside when I go shopping. I'm looking and watching for signs. So I've been on high alert um, basically since I've been here, especially now that there's been a national emergency declared. I'm on very super pins and needles high alert. So my antennas are up, and my state of readiness is I'm not sleeping with my shoes on yet, but I may get to that point because I do not want to get caught behind enemy lines. Um, so yeah, you'd be surprised the information you can get from the cleaning staff, and I'm in the cleaning business, so I know I've been in the janitorial business for management, janitorial business for 30 years now. So that's that about the hotel. So wherever you are during this crisis, this pandemic, this shutdown, you want to be vigilant and have your eyes open and have your self-defense plans in gear, whatever that is, firearms, dogs, alarm systems, cameras, trip wires, whatever you use. Make sure they're all functioning and those levels of also your communications plan. I'm just trying to look at some of these emails. I don't want to miss anything. Kids are Wisconsin Archer. How you doing, brother? Your kids' schools have been closed for the next 3 weeks. Oof. And that's what they're telling us now. Who knows if it gets even worse, if they're going to keep them closed. So kids are going to be home. Parents are going to be home. It's not good. Yeah. There's definitely going to, I don't know, I have it in my notes here to discuss later on. There's been several robberies. We can get into some of it later around the country of men with wearing surgical masks, robbing banks and doing other mischief. That's already happening. It's been happening. So imagine you're sick, you come to their aid, they try to rob you. You don't know what you're going to encounter. So be ready for anything. Ammo is starting to dwindle at Academy. I think Illinois banned gun purchases. I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't checked any ammo stores yet. I may try to go out tomorrow and see what's open and just see. I'm curious about that. I may see what's open tomorrow and take a ride and go see. I'm looking at my Twitter feed here because there's a lot of things going on Twitter tonight too. So defensive measures, know what's going on around you. Again, I said my car's gassed up and ready to go. My hotel bag, if I could show it to you, my suitcase is just opened, clamshell opened, and sitting on one of those suitcase holders. My clothes are still in it. My clothes are not in the drawers of the hotel. And my clothes are in my suitcase, and then I have another, like a Nike golf bag with gym equipment in it, gym stuff in it to wear and work out with. That stuff is packed in the bag. Today I just did laundry. There's no dirty clothes at all. And so thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that. Yeah, it could be Matthew 24. I was just watching some videos on that today. Matthew chapter 24. Recheck your radio frequencies. That's very smart. I did not bring any radios with me other than a small AM/FM radio with a weather alert on it. I didn't bring any of my ham radio gear, and I should have grabbed some of my portable radios before I left. It's one of the things I haven't done. The T Jeep and Outdoors. Good to see you, brother. Hope you and your family are doing good. I'm sure you tested your comms. I know you have. That's great. I know the people in Italy can't go out. They were singing from the balconies today. I saw some videos on that. We had 2 guys come through the apartment complex today with guns. I'm barricaded inside. Were these guys with guns good guys, bad guys? We don't know. That's pretty scary. Again, you have to be ready. Jeremy 4219. Hello, brother. How you doing? Your mindset is, you don't want to go into this with a mindset of, being. There's a certain amount of fear we all have, fear of the unknown, but your mindset has to be on alert. You have to be ready for anything. Things can go from bad to worse very quickly. This is just the beginning. Bad guys, yep. Okay, so when bad guys meet other guys that are not bad, that also have guns, then a lot of times they change their tune. That's why we have the Second Amendment, and that's why we have the right to keep and bear arms. It's a God-given right, and this is a time to be updates. So the White House is doing temperature checks today of certain people coming in to hear different briefings. So reporters have been temperature checked, and I think 1 or 2 reporters were banned from coming in. If the temperature is over a certain, I think it's 100.4. If your temperature is over 100.4, the White House is sending you packing. So Donald Trump finally took his test. All I heard from the media the last couple of days, they want him to be infected so bad. I could feel it in my bones. They're just salivating that he had dinner with the President Bolsonaro from Brazil, and there were some people infected there with that president down in Mar-a-Lago in Florida. And the media, I could just see them chomping like little what do you call those fish? Piranha fish. They want Donald Trump to be sick so bad they can't take it. So he sent out his test, and I think it came back negative. So let's see what the next thing they're going to latch their vicious teeth onto next. Hey, Dustin, thanks for joining me, brother. Hope you're doing well. I know your van's ready to go. It's very much like mine. We've got the same mindset, and I'll get with you offline here. I wanted to talk to you about a couple things back home that I could help you on also if you need it. And you could help me too, mutual things. Just picked up a thermal thermometer today at Walgreens. I may go look for one tomorrow. I have one at home. I didn't pack it with me. Yes, Wisconsin Archer. Fear can be good. You definitely want to stay alert, and don't let the fear grip you to the point where you're freezing and hiding in the corner. You want to be know what's around you. James Gunlatch, how you doing? A little late to the stream. Sure, if this has been asked yet, do you think America will go through a lockdown and won't be able to leave our homes? It seems like it's kind of building to that. And from what I heard today, from listening to some of the, all the doctors' talking points and some of the numbers I'm going to go over with here are just off the chart, staggering. If these come anywhere close to what they're predicting, we're in a whole heck of a lot of trouble here in this country and around the world. Hey, Longhorn Prepper, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey, Set of Irons, Pembroke Pines, my old stomping grounds. I miss that area. I miss Western Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, all my friends down there. God bless you. Miss the weather. Miss all you guys too. A lot of good preppers in the Florida area, guys, especially the South Florida area. Lots of guys down there that I'm friends with. Eddie Alexander, how you doing? Thanks for joining. I believe it's only going to get worse. The ones that are not ready may be at your and my door. I firmly believe that. Definitely be ready. If things get worse, like they're saying, that could happen. So let me go over some of the. So the travel ban expanded. Trump expanded it today to include the UK and Ireland. Before that, it wasn't including them. But since the UK exhibited an increase in cases today, that got enacted as well with the rest of Europe. So there's going to be passengers that are on their way home or coming. I have somebody that I know personally that came back from Switzerland on an emergency flight, and it cost the company that sent him out there in the first place $8,000 to fly him back. $8,000 to fly him back home. He's home now. He made it home. And now he's self-quarantining. But they're funneling through 13 airports, I guess, so they could control what's going on. The numbers are staggering. 160 to 214 million people in the U.S. could be infected. Now, guys, the United States of America, last I checked, has about 350 million people, give or take. So 214 million, what is that? 2/3 of the country could be infected. Well over half the country could be infected. It could last for months or even over a year. This, what we're going through now, could last for months or even over a year. Not many people in this country are prepared for, like, let alone months or years or a year. So just picture in your head how people are freaking out now, how they will if this drags out a months or a year. As many as 200,000 to 1.7 million could die. Let me say that again. 200,000 to 1.7 million can die. They're talking about here in this country. I'm just looking at the medical martial law in slow-mo. They have to do it super slow. Yep. We're going to talk about that too, Anthony, the currency, stock market, and all that, because I think my personal belief is that all this stuff is tied in to a global reset with the economies of the world. I don't think this just happened. I said it in my last live stream, and I'll say it again. I put a link in this video to Gregory Manorino. He's a stock guy that I listen to now and then, and he just did a video today. And it's pretty scary, some of the things he's talking about with the debt, with the banking system, with the trillions of dollars in debt that we're in, and how this global system can be reset into a whole different type of system, one that none of us would be used to, but we would be forced to live under. So that's going to come up later in the live stream. 2.4 million to 21 million people in the U.S. could require hospitalization, crushing the nation's medical system. I believe much, much less than that in the critical care system. So imagine if 2.4 million people needed hospital care, and out of those 2.4 million, many were critical that needed to be intubated or needed critical care. The system would be crushed. I mean, people would be turned away. People would be dying in the streets, staying in parking lots. There's a video on my channel. Oh gosh, it's a movie. I forget the name of it. If I think of it, I'll tell you. It's on my channel, and I put it on there. It's like a hour-and-a-half movie. It's a National Geographic one, and it goes through a pandemic like this, and the hospitals basically were overrun. They had like times the burden than the flu does. 5 to 10 times the burden of the flu does. Just to give you guys a something to, numbers to put in your head, the Spanish flu of 1918, 675,000 Americans died. They're talking here that 200,000 to 1.7 million can die. The more, they're predicting more, possibly, than the Spanish flu of 1918. Those numbers are staggering, guys, and they should scare us all. So it says we're buffering. Are we buffering, guys? Can you hear me? Costco has police. Costco having police shut down access so people can finish shopping. Wow. I've never seen that before. Buffered a couple of times. All right, I'll wait and see how it goes. I know YouTube's probably overrun tonight. They're probably real busy. I wanted to briefly talk about the National Guard being called out up in. It's actually several states have activated their National Guards. The governors of, I think it's Florida, Iowa, Louisiana, New York, Rhode Island, and Washington, in some capacity or another, have activated the National Guard in those states. 33 states have declared states of emergency. And the one that I'm most familiar with is New Rochelle, New York, which I lived in Harrison, New York, which is a few towns over from New Rochelle. I'm very familiar with that area. I used to hang out there a lot when I was in high school. And after that, in New Rochelle, New York, where there's been a cluster of cases, they're setting up, or I guess the National Guard has helped setting up a drive-through testing center. Haven't seen videos of that or how that's working, but that's what the National Guard is there doing. They're doing that, and I think they're doing cleaning and disinfecting of certain areas. But remember, when the National Guard is activated, they could go from doing one thing in order to do another thing. So because they're cleaning today, doesn't mean they won't be, armed and ready to guard places or go do a mission tomorrow. So keep that in mind in cities where the National Guard is on the. And just remember, I'm sure many people on here can remember Hurricane Katrina. That came through Florida while I was there, but it did most of it. I believe they were confiscating people's weapons. Also, the police chief up there issued an unconstitutional orders also to confiscate people's weapons. So we've got to have our eyes and ears open, guys, during this whole thing. Yeah, big convoy. Atlanta, Smyrna, Georgia. Near Atlanta, there's a serial bank robber wearing a medical mask. Hopefully they catch this dirtbag soon. In Queens, New York, gunmen wearing masks jumped a group of workers transporting $200,000 in cash from the Aqueduct racetrack in Queens, New York. So Boston, bank robbery using a surgical mask. New Jersey, same thing. I think there was something going on in Austin, Texas as well. And so somebody comes to your door, they're dressed in what looks like an official uniform, maybe from the power company, the water company, the post office. They've got a surgical mask on, or maybe even dressed as a UPS driver, an Amazon driver. Be a little bit more vigilant how you interact and talk with these people. If this happens, be ready for copycat people or people that catch you off guard. Also, I said it in my last video, if you're getting deliveries from online services and you're ordering supplies, people are going to be watching for those deliveries. And You need to get them, have a way of getting them in your house, unpacked, getting rid of the boxes somehow, even if you have to burn them. And don't let the boxes sit on your stoop for a long time. You want to be vigilant in these times. Massachusetts towns are suspending gun permit applications. Yeah. I said it in my last video, the last live video the other day. A lot of this all ties in to one thing's going to mushroom into another. It's not just separate things. This could end up being a ban on certain rights and freedoms, guns, ammo, gun control. This is all could be tied in. The people running this show know exactly. They've had a century to plan this. Up north of 60, how you doing, brother? I'm curious why you think the government will confiscate your firearms during the pandemic. I didn't say they would confiscate your firearms. I'm saying things leading up to banning and stopping permits and things of that nature, or stopping the sale of arms and ammunition can definitely happen. And we're seeing people comment on it right now that it is happening. As far as confiscating firearms, I don't know everything that's going on right now. Anything is possible. If somebody red flags somebody else, they could be swatted. They could be their doors kicked down. It's happened before. Just look up the marathon up in the Boston area where the bombing happened. They were going in people's houses and doing whatever they wanted. So I do not trust the system. That's just my feeling. I do not trust them. So you want to be ready for anything. I think this pandemic, this Wuhan virus, Corona, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, is definitely tied into some type of financial reset. I think the worst is coming. And I'm not a stock market guru, but I do know enough to see the writing on the wall that this nation's trillions of dollars in debt. The global system is in debt. All of our banks are tied together. We live in a global world. Most of us here in the United States are cashless for the most part. So things can happen very quickly. The markets can crash. The market, paper money that you think you have in the bank, you do not have. If there's a run on the banks and they run out of cash, it's first come, first serve. And they may have a limit, $50 a person. You may have 100,000, 10,000 in there. You want it out. It ain't happening. So don't count on it. This gets any worse. We're in a big pile of doo-doo, guys, if this gets worse. We're probably only a few steps from having Chinese UN troops separate Christians and gun owners into FEMA health camps, whatever you want to call it. You know what? Nothing's off the table right now, Anthony. Trying to see what I'm missing here. People are panic buying like crazy. Yes, I'm sure it's happening more in certain areas than the others, but the longer this goes on, the big box stores, BJs, they have to be resupplied. They're mostly resupplied by what? Truckers. The system, the just-in-time system that we have in place now, if anybody in that chain starts getting sick or not going to work, or truck companies shutting down for one reason or another, maybe a lot of truckers have kids. Maybe they have to stay home with their kids. They're taking a chance now. They're not going to drive their truck. They're going to stay home with their kids and watch over their family. Who's going to drive the truck to deliver the goods to Costco? How are we going to get supplies back to the shelves? It's all a big system that's tied together. If this system develops kinks that impede it from deliveries, we're in for big surprise as far as restocking. because your supermarket or Costco had stuff in it today does not mean it's going to have it in it tomorrow. I live right down the street to the two punk brothers responsible for the Boston bombings. Okay, so point A to point Z. Can you elaborate on what I just said about the Boston police or whoever it was going door to door during that time when they were looking for those guys? So I remember seeing it on TV. I mean, I was telling people, if these people are, if somebody comes on the news and says the two guys just bombed whatever they did, and they possibly coming through your neighborhood, I'm going to be armed and ready for them. If they're going to come through and think they're going to come and kick my door down or come on my front porch, they're in for a rude awakening. So, I'm not living in fear. If I'm going down, I'm going down fighting. Let's put it that way. And that's the mindset of a lot of people in the United States. We're not going to be preyed upon anymore. This isn't going to happen. Let me see where I left off on the robberies. We left off on the robberies. Now they're talking about the next topic I have is the vaccine. From what I saw today, Dr. Jonathan Manorino, professor of medical ethics at University of Pennsylvania, stated that early in 2021, a possible vaccine for this virus is out there. Right now, guys, do you know where a lot of our vaccines come from? Can somebody take a guess? I'll give you a hint. It's a lot of where our ingredients for things like penicillin and antibiotics and other medicines come from. So take a wild guess where the vaccine for this may come from. Guys, we have to bring production back to the United States for our medicine. I mean, whatever president or presidents outsourced to China to make these products for us, and why they did that, I know why they did it. It's outsourced jobs to China. It's to get low cost labor and then bring it back here and sell at a higher profit. All that comes into play. But why in the world would you hold yourself hostage to a country that can possibly be your number one enemy down the road? It just makes no sense to me why that would even take place. But it did take place, and so now we got to play backup and now try to make the medicines here. Who knows how long that could take to put into place? And then who knows? I don't take any vaccines. I think the only vaccine I took in my recent memory is a tetanus shot. That's it. I don't take the flu vaccine, never taken the flu vaccine or any other vaccine as an adult that I can remember. Now, I was vaccinated a certain amount of vaccines as a younger child, but not compared to what children are immunized today for. So you don't know what's going to be in the vaccine, if it's going to work or if it's going to make you worse than getting the virus. So if anybody wants to comment on that, I know that's a real big topic in a lot of circles, is vaccines and the safety and the efficacy of vaccines in general. That's a whole nother topic. Read some articles on billionaires jet setting off to their underground bunkers or their bunkers that they have set up in other countries, taking along with them their own doctors and nurses, and it must be nice. Maybe that's where all these big CEOs that retired or resigned recently, and government officials that resigned recently, maybe they knew something was coming down and they wanted to run for the hills. Who knows? it's definitely a possibility. Wisconsin Archer says this could be a viral experimental exercise executed by the Chinese government. This could be, I mean, it seems to have been originated in China and through jumping from animals like bats and other cat-like animals that they eat out there, I guess as they're part of their normal. In those wet markets, they get all these exotic animals that are, we should not be eating. And so, what do you think is going to happen if you're eating bats and cat-like animals and monkeys and rhinos and tigers and, I mean, creatures, all different kinds of snakes, and I mean, what do you think is going to happen in the long run? What does the Bible say about that? Anybody ever check Scripture? I know a lot of people like to believe certain parts of Scripture, but not believe other parts. But Yahweh is telling you not to eat certain animals, and it's for a reason. I think He knows best. So you might want to think long and hard about what you're eating and what you're putting into your body moving forward. And eating perfect is almost not possible in this country with all the fast food and the processed stuff we have shoved in our faces all the time. And it's expensive. So, and most people don't grow their own food. So that's kind of puts everybody in a predicament if these food chains drop out of food production suddenly drops out. I was talking to my mother last night on the phone. I'll tell you this story. And I've been trying to tell her for all the time I've been living in Charlotte, Ma, you got to buy some extra food and water and blah, blah, blah. Goes in one ear and out the other. So today she went to Harris Teeter, her local Harris Teeter in Charlotte, and she was trying to buy some chopped meat. And so she tells the meat market guy in the meat section, the butcher, hey, there's no chopped meat out here. I need 2 pounds of ground meat or whatever she said. He says, ma'am, there's no more in the store. We don't have any more. We're out of stock. She goes, oh, no. Go in the back and check. Go in the back and check the stock. There's no going in the back like in the old days where they got 20,000 other things stacked in the back waiting to come out to the front. They've got a certain amount of stuff in the grocery store that they bring out to the front, and then they get their next delivery. They're not stocking thousands of pounds of chopped meat or got cows hanging in the back of the store ready to be butchered up. It's just in time. So that's happening. So she was kind of shocked that was happening. And I told her last night, and I'll call her probably tonight and rub it in her face, that, see, I told you, Mom, what's going to happen. When Wall Street says you have to improve your earnings per share or we'll be downgrade your stock, you comply. We all should focus on the upcoming growing season. Yeah, I wish I could have, that's one of the things on my bucket list, to make a small garden in the small plot of land that I have, but it hasn't materialized yet. And with the predicament that I'm in, I'm in a life and death predicament. My wife has to get treatment. The tumor could, she has a brain tumor. So there's no saying, we're not taking care of your brain tumor. We're going to grow a garden or whatever. I have to do this first and pray that she's healed, and then we could start our life again. So everyone's in a different predicament. Some people have physical defects. They can't get out and about like they should or can or would like to. And so it holds them back. So this is definitely a bad situation for a lot of people. Just got mail from Majors Meat Fish Service suspended Kentucky. Just got an email from Majors Meat and Fish Service suspended in Kentucky. What is that? Is that a store, Majors? Wow. Revelation 6:6, food prices are going to skyrocket very soon, especially with the last two growing seasons being. Listen, food prices are already. I mean, I went to the store 4 times since I've been here. I spent over $400, and I hardly have anything. Oh, close to five, close to five. And I don't have much. I mean, if I open these cabinets, if you go on my Instagram page and you look and see what some of the stuff I don't have a lot of stuff. I don't have months of food in here. And I spent $500 almost since I've been here, and I haven't been here a week, and I need to be here 6 weeks. And I don't want to have to go out and get food every night. The good thing about the hotel here, and hopefully it'll still happen, is during the week they have breakfast buffet, not huge, but they have breakfast, and 4 nights a week they have a light dinner. So let's see if that continues next week. Hopefully it will. I made the mistake of getting gas in Washington, D.C. I wasn't really thinking because the tank was near 1/4 before empty. And I said, you know what, let me pull over here after we left the treatment yesterday. And it was $3.36 a gallon or something for regular unleaded, which is, I got back here to Virginia and it was over $1 less. And I'm like kicking myself, I topped off my tank. So that's a mistake I won't be making again, but I do have a full tank of gas. I asked Mama sprouting seeds and stuff like that. I want to do. I've been planning the meals. They provide a lot of nutrition. Mung beans, yep. Thank you. I'm gonna check that out.
Mung beans are what I put in the kachari.
Yeah, my wife makes a kachari. It's called in like a pottery clay pot, and one of the ingredients is mung beans, and the recipe's fantastic. Turmeric's in there, a lot of good things. We were eating, and we need to get back to that. Sprout microgreens and sprouts. My daughter and son-in-law do that. They have a whole setup in their downstairs area where they're doing sprouting now. $2.48 near Boston. Again, $3.36 in DC, just before I left DC yesterday.
To discuss how everybody wants to be a person.
So my wife follows a lot of like beauty bloggers. What kind of else? Interior decorators, beauty bloggers, makeup, clothing, stuff like that, right? Yeah. So all of these bloggers recently turned into preppers. Apparently, they just miraculously turned into preppers and are giving all kinds of advice now on their blogging channels on how much toilet paper you need and hand pump sanitizer you need. So everybody's a prepper now. It's just amazing what I see out there. Hey, they want you to make Wisconsin Archer wants you to make a video.
Okay.
She's gonna make a video. She's just trying to get through like a week of this treatment first, see how she feels.
A video with you, your sidekick?
Well, the last couple of lives you were on with me, so.
Yeah, I loved it.
Thank you, Ask Mama, for adding us to your prayer list tomorrow. I appreciate it. Tomorrow is a National Day of Prayer. I've actually had my nose in the Bible today and looking at some notes, and I may do a live video tomorrow on some of my notes that I've taken the last couple of days on certain passages of Scripture that I think are relevant. Scripture is always relevant, and so $1.97 a gallon, that's pretty good, Wisconsin Archer. That's really good. Yeah, there is do stuff with Nikki says she noticed a lot of sunflower bags because everybody's obsessed with toilet paper. Yeah, I get the whole entire toilet paper aisle was done. I'll show you a picture. I've got it on my on my Instagram. And so this was the aisle. This was the aisle at the local Giant store. This is normally where toilet paper and stuff like that is. Paper towel. I mean, empty. There were some napkins down around where that lady's standing. There were some napkins down there, but that was it. My meal today, my lunch today was a prepper's lunch. A can of chili mac and beans, some corn chips, and some toast with butter, and a bottle of water.
You're in charge while we're here.
I'm in charge of meal prep. Tonight I had a salad, a small salad, a can of tuna on a sandwich, and some chips again. Is that organic eating? No. But I am rationing the food that I have here. I'm not eating to my heart's content. I'm staying a little hungry because I don't know what's going to happen. Can I eat 3 cans of soup? Yeah. But am I? No.
Do they know what you're like when you're hungry? No.
Do they know what I'm like when I'm hungry? No.
I wouldn't want someone at the door.
Hey, brother, my wife is a manager at an Aldi. They are being put in harm's way with no raise in pay or operating equipment. Aldi is a German store, I believe. Is that like we have an Aldi and we have a Lidl or Lidl? I forget how to pronounce it. Out where I live in the Charlotte area. The Lidl's a really big store. It looks like my wife was there once. Aldi, I have not been in. I know there is some really good buys in Aldi also. When the SHTF, you got to have toilet paper. It just makes sense. You do have to have toilet paper. Yeah, I went out. I brought a certain amount of meds with us, and then I brought yesterday some more. I brought Motrin, Tylenol, antidiarrheal formula, Imodium products. Yeah, Marla, temporary preppers. I found out why toilet paper is such a big deal. One person sneezes, 10 others crap themselves trying to get away. Yeah, that's a good one. I haven't heard that one yet. That's probably why.
What do they think?
Yeah, rationing is listen. It's included in our rent, I guess. But whatever they're serving, I'm eating because I don't want to tap into the rations I have here. And then every time I go to the darn store, I got to hear my wife say, "You just spent $100." But
yeah, you walk out the door and you come back, it's $175.
I'm sorry.
Later.
The dogs need stuff too. Think about that. Think of your pets. These poor little doggies with us, they need food too. You know?
That's right.
Went out yesterday and I spent a whole bunch of money. This is just one of the things, but got them food. They're little dogs. They don't eat huge amounts of food, but they do get hungry and they do need food. So I have to think of my little babies as well, being that they're in here with us. Hey, Jay Long, how you doing? Thanks for joining. Gastonia, yeah, you're close to me. I'm in the South Charlotte area, just south of Ballantyne. Been through Gastonia recently when I went on a trip to Greenville for a business meeting. Drove through Gastonia area. Yep, definitely. Let's hit up Starbucks. Listen, I was at Starbucks today just to get a coffee and check out what was going on in the store. And there were definitely people there hanging out. There were people sitting down on their phones, on their laptops. I didn't see people avoiding Starbucks at all today. Actually, I didn't see people avoiding any eateries in and around the area where I am. Chipotle was packed full of people. The grocery store was, had a steady stream of people. The pharmacy, Had to stay. Eddie Alexander, the jug of water behind you. I just ordered 5 to go with the 5 I have. It's definitely a good idea. And water, like I was talking about before, when that jug empties out, we use that mostly for coffee. I bought a coffee press and water for coffee, but once that's emptied out, I refill it with water from the tap. So we have this little electric teapot that we bought. We can boil up water real quick as long as there's power. And we got an electric stove. This is a real good investment. How much is this?
That was all what? 20-some dollars.
20-something bucks, and boils the water in a few minutes.
There's an auto shut off
And it shuts off automatically.
Great memory.
So the S&P 500, they're saying this past week was the choppiest week since Hoover was president, or since the Great Depression. The market fell 3 times and rose twice. It rose the other night when Trump did his speech on the bailout. I guess, yeah, that's what it is. All the things they were going to do, all the money they were going to release, the $50 billion, all the money that people were going to get to be paid for sick leave and things like that. Listen, all that requires, where's all that money coming from? It's not just sitting in thin air. $50 billion isn't just sitting in thin air. It's got to come from somewhere. So how long and how bad this gets and lasts can dictate what the stock market's going to do in the future, in the near future. So the market jumped 9.3% on Friday after President Trump declared a national emergency. So it jumped 9.3%. There's a liquidity crisis in effect. That's one of the things that Gregory Manorino talked about in the video that I think I attached it to this live chat, so you'll be able to click on it. It's his video that he did tonight. It's a 20-minute video. He said there's a liquidity crisis in effect. The problem is debt. This current is going to bring in a new system, a new financial system, one that we're not used to living under. So this credit crisis that could happen, if we go into a credit crisis and credit's shut, cards are shut down, debit cards don't work, think about what could happen. I mean, I went out a few times, used my credit card, bought some goods, services. What could happen if that gets shut down without any warning? Sort of like what happened in 2008. Boom. No more credit on your house, no more borrowing against this or that. It hits you fast and furious. And they bring in a new system. So Trump's emergency plan calls for the release of $50 billion for state and local governments, executive actions for drive-through testing, locations, Walmart, CVS, etc. Free testing for the sick, paid sick leave, FMLA for those in need of it. HR 6201, I guess, is the bill called the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. So as far as the market goes, we can see a huge impact. Central banks can issue debt backed by nothing. And he goes into that in his video. A lot of financial things I'm not too fully schooled on them, but I do know, based on what is happening, based on the debt of our nation and the world, that this can spiral out of control really, really quickly. Like I said, I say in a lot of my videos that You'll go to bed one night and you'll wake up to a new world system the next day. That's exactly what could happen. When it's going to happen, I don't know. People on here are commenting that let's see, as early as July. James Gunlack says, I've seen reports saying we'll hit a major recession as early as July. Joe Biden to get in, that could happen, definitely. Silver and gold prices down. I was on Ampex yesterday, and silver was down. I forget what it was down, a dollar something, $1.50, $1.30. But it's a good time to pick up some silver and gold if you haven't. Some tangible assets. I'd have to check how much silver was. I mean, I could check and go on Ampex right now and check that out. See what it closed out on. Something. So silver's at 1484. It was down $1.32. Gold was down $61.40 to $1,533.50. Platinum was down $18.50 to $767.30. Palladium was down $256.90 to $1,813 an ounce. So silver, I haven't seen silver at 1484 in a long time. I may go on tonight to buy some. What are you sighing about? It's a tangible asset. Listen, what's that? Oh yeah, yeah. Talk about being blessed. You do not want to know the cost of Barbie's radiation treatments at Johns Hopkins Hospital, because you'll definitely need a roll of toilet paper if I told you what each treatment costs. It's just mind-boggling what that is. When I saw that amount, it's just amazing. I mean, we could be bankrupt overnight. I mean, don't get sick, guys.
If we had to pay, we'd probably get like 2 treatments.
Don't get sick is all I can say.
Yeah. Okay.
Do not get sick.
That's so true,
it is. And I tell people this all the time. I mean, you could sit there, and I know people like this. They sit there, and I've got my 401k has $1.2 million. I've got 40,000 in the bank. I'm inheriting this amount from when Uncle so and so kicks off. I got this much in bonds, and you don't have anything. If the system goes belly up, your paper assets go zero. If they start a new reset, your paper assets go zero. Your health is what you should cherish. Your health and well-being. It's one of my uncles used to tell me this all the time growing up. And we've been on an hour and 23 minutes already. So I'll look at cutting short soon. But my uncle would tell me this all the time, my Uncle Ray. He would say, Anthony, he'd come over and visit, and my kids were little, and they were playing, and he was sitting there. He'd sit on the couch and just mesmerized at my kids playing and laughing at them. And he was just so enthralled with whatever they were doing. And he said, he'd get up before he left. He said, listen, Anthony, you're a millionaire. You are a millionaire. And now I know what he's talking about. Young and healthy, blessed with kids. They were healthy. A roof over our heads, food on the table. Millionaire. Today, when I had that can of chunky chili mac soup, some Dorito chips, and some buttered toast, and a bottle of water, I consider myself a millionaire for being able to have that meal.
We were never
Just
gonna
people,
be
there's
a
people
portion
eating
our
off the
money.
streets out of garbage bins
Just food,
right now.
never.
Garbage bins.
We were always good stewards of our money.
So, guys, we're millionaires as long as we can put food on the table. We have a roof over our heads. We're blessed.
No.
We're going through this together as a nation. We shouldn't be divided. We should be together through it. But we know what happens when these types of things happen. Many times, the worst in people come out, and you have to be ready for it. I'm not saying don't be a good person. I'm saying be discern. Use discernment is what I'm saying. Use discernment in everything that you do moving forward with this crisis. Make sure you and your closest are taken care of first. And be careful of wolves in sheep's clothing. Exactly. There's many out there.
Mm-hmm.
Molly, your father spends $600 every 2 weeks for his pancreatic cancer medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, getting sick sucks. Exactly. I think we have a prescription that costs, what's it cost? We pay a copay, but what's it cost a month? If we had to pay out of pocket, it'd be $3,000 a month for one of Barbie's prescriptions. One, $3,000 a month, and she's prescriptions.
You just never know. I don't drink. I don't smoke.
She doesn't drink. She doesn't smoke. She doesn't party. Vegetarian for 20 years, over 20 years. Anybody could get sick, guys.
Anybody can get sick.
Anybody could get sick. You don't know.
You wake up in the blink of an eye.
You don't know. Our lives are a mist. I was just reading in several places in Scripture. It tells us our lives are a mist. You're here 60, 70, 80 years, and the rest of is going to be spent in eternity. Thank you, Maul. I appreciate it. Yeah, we turn everything over to Jesus, definitely. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate it. Eddie Alexander, our area is out of bread, buns, and most everything. Wow. Longhorn Prepper, check out copay assistance programs. I haven't seen I haven't looked into that. I will definitely check into that because we are in, I thought Barbie's brain surgery originally, when she had her first tumor removed, she had a pituitary tumor removed 3 years ago. This one's a residual tumor in another part of her brain that they can't operate on. That's why she needs the radiation, the 6 weeks of radiation. And so I thought that we had that original surgery at the University of Miami Hospital, and I'm still paying payment plans on my share of that surgery. And so this radiation treatment, I think, is going to dwarf that original surgery. So definitely in uncharted territory, but we're just thankful that she's getting treatment at Johns Hopkins. She's in good hands. Thank the Lord every single day. Every single day. Full Armor Warrior. One of mine would be, is that $10,000 a month? Pray for that. Virginia covers it. Wow. VA covers you. Wow, the VA covers it. Could be, imagine a prescription, $10,000 a month. Just, I mean, how much does it cost to make something? How could you sell something for $10,000 a month? I mean, what is it, liquid gold? I mean, that's crazy. $3,000 a month for one of my wife's prescriptions. I mean, what is it? I mean, it's just incredible what it costs. Yeah. Do stuff with Nikki? Yeah, it is criminal. I believe it is. Yes, and I do. Does anybody have any questions or want to make any comments on anything we talked about tonight, or make some future predictions? What did you say?
Is it so so nice to have a proper family.
Yeah, it is nice to have to go on live and have a family of people on there, like-minded, commenting, interacting with one another. I mean, it's really, it's really great to see that.
Really respectful of each other.
We will, Longhorn Prepper, check with the manufacturers also about the free drug program.
I try not to take any drugs.
Godspeed to you too, Jared on the loose. Appreciate you joining tonight. Okay, thank you, Longhorn Prepper. I appreciate it. I'm gonna definitely look into that.
I'm back on the line. Susan,
we are in God's hands, that's for sure. And again, I'll go back to what I said earlier. I don't think anything happens by accident. So this is, I think, what we're going through in the nation and around the world is something in really uncharted territory, uncharted waters. I don't believe the pundits that say the stock market's always done good, it's always going to bounce back, it's always going to be there, it's always done this or that. Look at this in history. I know the charts show that, but I just got a very bad, uneasy feeling in my stomach about what's happening now. So that's just my gut feeling. Thanks guys for joining. Wisconsin Archer, thank you for your prayers. They're waiting for your upcoming cooking video.
Got it.
Wisconsin Archer has been a vegetarian for 20 years. Oh, no, wait.
Brother vegetarian.
Thank you guys, appreciate it. So we'll make sure you subscribe, like the video, hear it. So guys, I've been watching some videos. One of the things that helps like relax me, believe it or not, is watching like RV videos of people that live in small RVs. They travel around the country, and I'm watching one guy now, Rusty 78606, I think his channel is. Check it out when you get a chance. He lives in a 17-foot casita, a 2019 casita, and he generates his time between his home base in Texas and one in New Mexico, and he goes back and forth to those two locations. And just simple living, not a lot of stuff, not a lot of gear. So my wife's been getting links of properties that I'm looking at to say, I'm going to set up my RV and just call it a day and live in there and kind of get away from the world. I mean, it's just been calming my spirit lately, watching those. So that's one of the things that relaxes me a little bit. But, yep. So signing off, guys. Take care. Stay ready. I will go live tomorrow if I see some changes in things, and do another live video. Maybe do a short live Bible study on some of the notes I've gathered the last couple of weeks. Thanks, guys, for joining me. I appreciate it. Take care. Stay ready. Anthony signing off.